Welcome back to the Get Off the Treadmill podcast for small business owners and entrepreneurs, where we show you how to build a successful business and to have a life too. We're going to dive into another topic that helps us make more money in less time and to get off the treadmill so we can experience a life of significance. And now, your host and the author of the #1 best-selling business book, Making Money is Killing Your Business, Chuck Blakeman.
Today, I'm talking with Valerie Reid. She is a strategic and results-oriented leader with deep experience in business growth, team leadership, and innovation. She spent over a decade at Deloitte advising Fortune 100 and 500 companies, helping them drive results through practical strategies and collaborative execution. Today, Valerie is the CEO and founder of Simple Cremation USA, a national online platform connecting families with funeral homes. Valerie has successfully scaled this consumer-facing e-commerce business that bridges both business to business and business to consumer. She's passionate about building value and turning new ideas into great results. And I'm excited to have you back, Valerie. We've had you here before. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you, Chuck. It's great to be back. Good to see you.
Yeah, well, if anybody hasn't listened to Valerie's first time with us, we talked about the idea of not hunting trees and finding lumberjacks, a rather cryptic way of talking about how to do marketing and sales. So I think I really enjoy that. Today, we're going to I have a short podcast on no two customers are alike. And boy, you can go 20 directions with this one, but I'm a big fan of this. One of the reasons I'm a fan of this, you've been in a large corporation. There's been research recently that shows that most large corporations actually do not think about their customers in any meaningful way. And it's a stunning thing to actually have to go to a large corporation and say, let's ask the question, what would our customer want? That is a revolutionary question today in most large corporations. So we don't even think about the customer, let alone that they might be different. So take that and run with it. No two customers are alike. What are you learning in your business about that concept?
Wow. Even when you were talking about that question, I had light bulbs flying off all over the place. Because you're right. I don't think as business owners, we give enough credence to the fact that everybody's different.
Yeah.
Not only their backgrounds, their personalities, where they're coming from, the amount of money they have to spend, how they value spending money, etc. So I think it's a really, really great concept. So in my business, I have two customer bases. We're a B2B business where we have funeral homes on our website, and we also have a B2C business where we serve the families that are looking to plan a simple direct cremation, and they do so with us if they want to do so online. So I've got two perspectives here of working on a B2B and B2C, but if we took the B2C part first, and that I think is missing in a lot of conversations. I remember having a conversation with someone who was selling cars, who was one of the young sons that was taking over his father's car sales business. And I introduced the concept to him, just, do you think about the different personality types? And you can go, there are all sorts of, different books you can read about that, 4 different personality types. Oftentimes the occupation gives you a clue. Like, you're going to get an accountant that's got probably a different personality type than someone who's an event planner or in marketing or something like that. So just that's a first clue that you could get and then know what they need for their information. So maybe the accountant, the IT person might need a little bit more on the detail side. They're interested in how the engine works. And maybe the event planner or the marketing person, again, great, broad generalities here. They want to know, how does this look? How does it make me look in the car? When you see the advertisements with the red lipstick and the the red shoes, so that I find very interesting. We have that certainly with our customer care team and the people that we have that are looking for funerals and cremation. Sometimes they need a lot of hand holding. Obviously, it's a hard time for them, but they need to be able to walk through the site and understand. Otherwise, other times people are just full of trust and just will hand over everything and just take care of it, and they're all good to go.
So there's two ways already that we've identified no two customers are alike. One is, what does your customer want? Do I even know what the customer wants? Do they want a shiny red object, or do they want a dull gray object? I don't know. And so I'm out there with my dog and pony show. Stop me when you see something you like. And
Right.
I'm just kind of going through my 45-minute thing, and only 5 minutes of it would be interesting to them, but I don't know which 5 minutes. So I'm just going to rain on them with all this, I'm going to throw up on them with everything I know. What if I knew what they wanted? I could take that whole thing and just talk about what they wanted. And then the second thing you mentioned there was basically their point of view. Well, how do they view life?
Mm.
Do I view life from the inside of the engine out and I want a big roaring engine? Or do I view life, from the aesthetics? Hey, this is beautiful. I'm the third guy. I actually would, anybody asks me, what kind of car do you want to buy? I say, I want a moving couch with a great stereo.
Yeah, that's
And I
great.
don't care what it looks like after that. I want something that is as comfortable as possible with great sound, and I could care less about everything else in the car. We don't do that, do we? We just go out, stop me when you see something you like
Right. I'm
about the
just gonna flip
engine,
through it. Yeah.
the tires and the color and the engine and the durability and the warranty. So I mean, we could stop right here with those two. What does my customer want? And how
Mhm.
do they view the world? I need to use their language. If they're a hard charging, rugged individualist, I'm not a fan of that, but I need to be able to relate to that person. And we just too often, especially as small business owners, we are too in love with our product, which makes us want to explain our product to our customers, and they don't care. I don't care how you build your chair. You just need to ask me, what kind of chair do I want? Do I want a chair with arms or without arms?
Right, 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 right. And it's always better to listen first, you know?
So we talk about the 4 buying questions in our
Mm,
fast track program where we do business development a very different way with people.
mm.
And I don't know if you remember those 4 buying questions, but I think you have the concept that let's be interested in them first.
Right.
And once we find out about them, we might actually be able to share with them, oh, well, this is how what I do relates to what you actually want.
Right, right. You know, and it's funny because on the B2B side, sometimes our funeral homes are concerned that they might have a service where the folks would want to come in and sit with them and plan a larger service versus offering them a solution that might be a lower cost and a simpler solution. But what I have seen, and it's proven over the last decade or so, is that there will be the right offering for the right circumstance, the right time. So it's sometimes you might want a different. So, for example, in my family, unfortunately, my brother was taken very quickly, murdered my brother. And so our family needed a beautiful, loving memorial for him. And we had the service of a funeral home, and we just adored the service. And then along came my mother's passing many years later, thankfully, and she wanted just a simple cremation and nothing else. And that's really one of the genesis for starting the business was that contrast in one family and 2 different family members. You know, obviously my brother didn't have the choice, so our family made the decision, but my mother had the choice, and that's what she wanted. So we honored that. So as business owners, what do the customers really want? You're not going to sell, ice to Eskimos, even though people do think that you want to, but
So to make this practical for people, well, what does this mean to us is this. Ask questions
mm,
before you do your dog and pony show and try and come up with the best questions you can to ferret out what do they want and how do they view the world. That's what our 4 buying questions are about. It's about trying to understand them, not trying to figure out how I can sell at them, but can
mhm,
I really understand what they want, what they need, what motivates them? And then I just tailor my presentation to what they already want. So
mm,
ask questions
mm,
until you feel like you can say, I think I understand what my customer wants. Now
mm,
let me tailor what my 45-minute dog and pony show, I can just pull out the 5 minutes that relates to what they want. And you just gave a great example of 2 very vastly different funeral services. And you wouldn't know that unless you ask good questions. So that's the big aha here. Ask good questions before you do your dog and pony show. They'll think you're a genius. I had a friend who couldn't sell his strategic planning services until I suggested to him, why don't you spend 15 minutes asking them what they want and then just feed back to them what they want. And he came back 2 weeks later and I said, how'd it go? And he says, they think I'm a genius because I sit there and I ask them what they want and then I tell them what I heard. And they say, that's exactly what I want. How'd you know that?
It's so brilliant. It's so true. But also in that questioning, you're really being authentic because you really want to know, what am I, as my service, a good fit for you?
Yeah.
And a long-term winning strategy for business is you're going to make a match. And if it's not, it's okay. There will be other customers that will find your service a perfect fit. So that's one thing that I often ask my customers when they come and they want a simple cremation. Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to? Is this the right service for you? Because you want a satisfied customer, don't we all, as business owners? We want to say, oh, this funeral home was so considerate. They offered this service for me at this time. It was great. I'm going to give a recommendation, and maybe my friend doesn't want that service. They might want a different service, but they were so happy that the representative, i.e. our company, was able to get to the bottom of their need. Just as you said, Chuck, I listened, we listened and delivered what they needed, and they just thought it was the best thing.
And we can end with this. We'll just tease people with this, but this is a challenging part of actually know two people are like and figuring out what they want and their point of view. If you ask questions, you figure out what they want and you figure out their point of view and how they view life, you might actually be able to say to yourself, I don't think my services or my product are actually a fit for this person.
Yeah.
And now we get to be challenged by, will I do what's best for the customer? And can I refer them to somebody else? And this goes back to our first podcast that you and I did on lumberjacks, where we refer to each other all the time. What if you regularly did what was best for people instead of what might put money in your pocket? I know for a fact from my own life and from the experience I've seen with many other business owners, in the long haul, it always works out best for you. I think it was Bob Berg Zig Ziglar who said, help enough other people get what they want in life and you'll get what you want.
Exactly.
What they want. So are we willing to actually say no to someone by saying, yes, here, let me give you somebody else? That's the challenging part of really burrowing down and finding out what people want.
Well, authenticity and providing value, I think, are the two keys.
Yeah.
If you do that, you're not providing value to anyone who doesn't really need or want your service. And even if they might need it, you're, a parent, I'm a parent, so it's sometimes, the person will need it, your kid needs it, but heck, they're not open to it. So that's the other angle too.
All right. So no two customers are alike. Let's ask questions and find out what the difference is. We might actually make more money in less time and get off the treadmill. This has been a lot of fun. How can people get a hold of you?
Oh, well, a number of different ways. First of all, you can find us on Simple Cremation USA. That's www.simplecremationusa.com. And you can call us. We'd love to hear from you. It's 1-866-333-5130.
Brilliant. This has been a lot of fun, Valerie. Love what you're doing. Keep going. You got a great service.
Thank you so much, Chuck. Great to hear you.
That wraps up another episode of the Get Off the Treadmill podcast. If you found this podcast helpful, please subscribe and hit the like button to ensure you are receiving the latest tools you need to grow your business and to get off the treadmill. If you want more information on the 3 to 5 Club, the Crankset Group, or to book Chuck as a business advisor, speaker, or workshop leader, you can contact us at grow@cranksetgroup.com. Until next time, have a great week.